Okay, so it looks like it is just going to be Chibo and Nonsnse. Okay, so Peach, Samus. Kind of an interesting matchup. Different people will tell you different things. Like, I think Vans used to always say this matchup is super easy, but then again, he did lose to Duck a while ago. Hugs generally says it's even. I'm inclined to say that Peach wins. That's just my take on it as a secondary Peach. But anyways, regardless, it's definitely not too lopsided either way for it to really be a significant factor in how this goes. So it looks like we're stage striking at the stage select screen. And some people like to do that. Some people don't like to just look at the list of stages. They just rather do it correctly. Okay, so we start on Battlefield. Kind of interesting forward air by Nonsnse. I don't really like these float heights. I think you should float a little higher against Samus. So that down air worked out for him, but it's kind of risky. Samus can very easily just crouch cancel and shield the down air, and then she can probably just up B you when you land. I think that'll come out faster than anything Peach can do. Like, the only super fast ground option Peach has, like really fast, is jab, which is frame 2. But I think Samus's up B invincibility would still beat that. Ooh, that grab barely works. I kind of suspect that was an input error, because I don't really see any reason why Samus would necessarily want to grab facing that direction when something lands to the right of you. But regardless, it worked out. Okay. Nonsnse has a stitch face. He got stuck in the run turn animation. Just got hit by a missile for it. He could have just nared Chibo there. Okay, so that was a good back air. Spaced it nicely over Samus's forward tilt. So just in general, I feel like Peach should try to be floating a little over, say, Samus's head height. I think that's generally a really solid height to be. Nonsnse has generally been floating a little lower than that. Okay. So being off stage against Peach as Samus is unusually dangerous, just because Peach can't hit the bombs with turnips, so it's something you really need to look out for. Okay. Kind of an interesting recovery. Good up tilt. That up tilt is a really reliable edge guard option. It'll cleanly hit a lot of characters out of their recoveries when they have to recover low. Okay. Chibo misses the grapple. Good forward air. Nonsnse spaces the forward airs kind of deep. I think he could afford to do the forward airs a little bit earlier. Okay. Good missiles by Chibo. Like, generally when Peach is at kind of that high height, it's awkward for Samus to challenge that. And Chibo's response is just short hop high missile, and that's working out pretty well for him. The missiles do pretty good damage, they have good knockback stats. Nice strong back air. Samus's strong hit of the back air is really quite powerful amongst back airs. That was an extremely unnecessary super wave dash, but okay. Kind of interesting to see Chibo camp the platforms a lot. It's not something you see Samus do too much. A lot of the new age faster Samuses like to sit on platforms a lot. Like, I know Pleb will like to use them for maneuvering around quite a bit. And Samus is pretty good at that. She has a good wave land. So Samus can do that. And in a sense, it can be pretty good against Peach just because Peach isn't great at rising quickly. She has a really slow double jump. So platform camping is frequently an effective strategy against her. It's kind of an unusual one for Samus to employ against her, but Chibo seems to be making it work pretty well. Okay. Yeah, that down smash is not a move you want to hold down against. If you just ASDI it down, then you're gonna have a pretty bad time. In this case, Chibo lost about half his stock for it. I like the idea there. I think it's not too hard for Samus to just wait out the turnip, though. Good up B. At this point, these little trades with the up B are totally fine for Chibo. Samus vs. Peach is a pretty heavy war of attrition. It's unusual for big comebacks to really happen. The one exception to that is if Peach pulls a Stitch Face. Samus does not handle Stitch Faces well at all. She doesn't have the greatest out of shield options against them. Just in general, she's pretty limited against them. Like, for people who want an example of that, I recommend watching ESAM versus Bladewise in pools at this year's Apex. Okay, that was kind of an interesting game. Nonsnse was mostly doing alright, but he got caught with a few interesting downers off the edge by Chibo. Okay, we have Taffikins joining me now. Nonsnse picks Yoshi's Story. Not sure how I feel about it. I suppose it makes sense. I don't know. I think I personally would have preferred something a little bigger, but we'll see how Nonsnse can work with this. Okay, Nonsnse probably could have neutral aired that ledge jump. Okay. So yeah, that up onto the top platform was pretty safe. Like, he took a hit, but he was able to just smash the eye down and away and just tech it. Activate the extender. Spot dodge is the extender. Yeah, extender is kind of an interesting option against Peach. He spends so much time in the air, and the extender can't grab characters in the air. But it seems like kind of an odd thing to prioritize as Samus against Peach. Down air. Yeah. That's pretty tricky to get around as Samus. I would think Samus's best option against it would just be smash the eye out of the down air to dodge the neutral air.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we can hear Taffikins. I think.
Hello?
I hear him, at least.
Alright, we good? Alright, sorry guys. So I'm in the stream joining fly. Keep going with what you were talking about.
Okay, let's see what's going on right now. Good neutral air by Samus. Samus has a pretty fast neutral air. Okami told me it was frame 5. Well, I'll take his word for that. Pretty big move too. Not all that disjointed, but still big. Has good knockback stats.
Shoot, shots being fired right now.
Yes. So yeah, it also makes sense that Samus would like to use neutral air like that against Peach, just because Peach is going to be spending a lot of time in the air. She's going to be floating around a lot. So just jumping up there with a neutral air is a pretty sensible option against her. Especially when she's at percentages at which it'll kill. Which on this stage probably is like 120-ish. Lower if you catch him behind down and away.
Oh, they both end up committing an SD.
I think that was the right idea by Nonsnse, because if he didn't sweet spot that, he would have potentially eaten a charge shot. Granted, charge shot does a crazy amount of hit lag, so it wouldn't be too hard to just smash guy into the stage and tech it, I think.
But at least he would have been able to get eliminate that charge shot too.
Yeah. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Nonsnse keeps just floating out there and hitting Chibo.
Yeah. You can DI down to get out of that, actually.
Yeah, I smashed DI down and away. Okay. I like the back throw. Peach's back throw does pretty good damage. Also just puts Samus in a bad position. Samus isn't a character who you're going to see all that many long combos against. So just putting Samus in a bad position and doing a decent amount of damage in the process is a really sensible course of action against her. Samus with that 6 frame down smash.
Oh, but you can't really get much of a follow-up on that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Can you down throw?
Or wait, this was off what?
The Samus extender.
I think... I don't know what follow-ups Samus gets off Peach. I think at low percentages you can get a dash attack. At higher percentages, if Peach DIs up and in, you can probably get a neutral air. I think Peach could dodge everything at percentages like this, but I'm not sure.
And there's a window now for Chibo to come back and win this.
Yeah, he has the charge shot, but doesn't get it. Okay, and we are now 1-1.
Alright, where does he go?
So I would assume that she would probably go Stadium if Nonsnse doesn't ban it. Yeah.
Oh, how is he gonna get past the missiles?
He's gonna just float over them. Or you can just neutral air the missiles. Peach just, in general, eats missiles really easily. It's not really much of a problem for her. Looks like Nonsnse is just opting to try to go over them, which is fine. I think it's better to just try to hit the missiles with like a neutral air.
Oh, that was a really good force field to extend the combo there.
Yeah. Good DI by Chibo, but Nonsnse was still able to get a neutral air off that.
That was a sensible follow-up. I'm liking how Nonsnse is using those disjointed hitboxes to just go through and hit Chibo.
Yeah. Kind of surprised he didn't just do another down air to neutral air there. Chibo hasn't been escaping those, and I'm pretty sure it would have killed.
Yeah.
But back air's still fine. Neutral air here? Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's the game plan I have. Unless I'm certain that they can get out of it or they know I'm gonna keep doing it. Right?
Yeah. And Chibo keeps going for the extender, and this time he ate 30-something damage for it. So I do... Okay.
So if you looked up gimmicks in the dictionary, you see Chibo's face with this same extender. Alright, so we saw him grab once, but I don't really like the game plan centralizing around him at all.
Yeah. I would much rather just get a charge shot against Peach, for sure. Nonsnse just sitting back, fighting out of his shield a lot.
I'm liking those waveland maneuvers to get closer to Steve. Oh, wow.
That was tricky.
No DI!
Yeah.
As a DJ Nintendo would say. He's just winning these aerial confrontations.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get punished for that low percentage neutral though. A lot of the time if you hit Samus with an aerial at a really low percentage like that, she'll just be able to neutral air you first. Because she's heavy and doesn't experience all that much hit stun relative to percentage.
Oh, wow.
Good power shield.
He's going to have to reflect on that later tonight.
Yeah. It doesn't actually even matter all that much just because power shield reflects damage done by 1/2.
Yeah.
Still good though for sure.
He misses the medium punish there out of shield. But would you say this lead's pretty significant in this matchup?
Yeah. Samus doesn't really have great comeback tools against Peach. Like I was saying earlier that Peach does have one good comeback tool against Samus in the form of Stitch Faces, but I don't see much on Samus's end. Like the best thing I can think of is just slowly rack up damage and try to kill by reading a float with a charge shot, but still that involves slowly racking up damage.
And if the Peach really wanted to, she could just force trades.
Yeah, Peach is very good at that. Okay,
it's really hard. From my impression is that impression of the matchup, it's really hard for Samus to get free hits.
Yeah, it's mostly going to be lots of little isolated things. Maybe some missiles here and there, although Chibo hasn't actually been landing all that many compared to how many he's been using. Jumps with neutral airs and forward airs, things like that. Okay. That forward air was good. It put Nonsnse in a position to be tech chase, but Nonsnse didn't tech to the left, which is what Chibo was expecting. If he did, neutral air probably would have killed him. The back hit of the down smash. Okay.
He needs to get this kill. Alright, not looking good.
Okay.
DI.
Again, back throw. Does good damage, puts Samus in a bad position.
And it seems like Chibo's picking up bad habits on the West Coast with the question of DI.
Shoutouts to British Columbia, which is where that originates, I think. It's West Coast Canada, actually. Okay. So yeah, Nonsnse can just probably do more or less whatever he wants at this point.
His shield was low, but he can always just run away.
One good neutral air should... Well, not yet, but it won't be long until one good neutral air would end it. Stitch face? That'll end it too.
Yeah.
The most unnecessary Stitch face I've seen in a while.
Some would say it's nonsensical. Alright.
Perhaps.
So Nonsnse is on pace to either get the first or second seed. Do you know who the other heavy hitter is?
I think West Bulls is in this pool. I'm not positive.
Oh, okay,